Yo, what's up guys, it's Lost Griff, I with Facecam, and I'm going to be talking about an idea I've been thinking about for a really long time. This has been around in my head, honestly, probably for about a year, almost, and maybe even a little bit shorter than that. Now real quick, if you guys enjoy today's video, I'd really appreciate if you guys could drop a sub, because only a small percentage of people are actually subscribed to my channel. And I've been trying to grow it, so I'd really appreciate if you guys could drop one. I'm hoping for 1K soon. So yeah, thank you guys so much for all the support recently. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, let's get into the video. It basically came around a long time ago whenever me, Liam, Gume, Artie, and Rapid were all on a call doing a roundtable. Now this is a private roundtable that I did with these people, and it's pretty interesting. Gume had a lot to say. Me and Liam had a lot to say, bro. We had some different takes on stuff at the time, because I was a lot more of an avid PvPer back then. And so basically, you know, we discussed a lot of different things. A lot of those different things are way different now. I can't even really recall much of it because a lot of stuff that's been discussed in that call had actually been changed. And I mean, honestly, it's a really productive roundtable. But today I would be talking about an idea I mentioned to them at that time and what I still think could be the future of PvP if adapted correctly into Wizard101. Now, this idea is the foundation of will cast in the game. Now, you might think this game, you know, is very based on RNG. There's a lot of RNG in PvP, and that's kind of how it's run. But I'm here to say that there shouldn't be as much RNG as there is right now. And a lot of people complain about that, you know, like there should be a margin of error. Don't get me wrong. There should be RNG. It's a card game. Anybody who says this game should be, you know, no RNG, you know, this game is just too RNG based, devs suck, like, they don't know what they're talking about. It's the same problem with every other card game. It's just some players know how to negate it the most possible. And so there's some ideas I think I have in mind to help create this, you know, negation of RNG in a healthy way that's not too player friendly, too something you'd rely a little bit too much on. And I think a great idea here is will casts. Now, will casts are a pet feature that are specifically exclusive to PvE as of the live realm right now. Now, the live realm, you cannot make a will cast pet to put onto a PvP pet. It will not work. The most common will casts are the Frozen Kraken, often used in Decathlon, as well as the Vampire, which is used during the Life Decathlon. These two will casts are very common because they do an extreme amount of damage for basically no cost except your pet, you know, essentially doing a little jiggle and being able to do like 500 damage, you know, simply on top of the move you're doing that round. A lot of Decathlon players would shield and then have their pet Frozen Kraken in order to kill one of the minions. That's a very common strategy up there. And while I don't think stuff like this to this extent should be in the game because, you know, double casting is dumb, and I don't think that should be in PvP, you know, under a pet or anything like that, I do think that individual will casting to keep in your top deck is a genius idea. Top deck cards are one of the best ways to show top players shining through throughout a diversity of different metas. Now, in a realistic card game, there is, you know, rock, paper, scissors. That's why they made Rochambeau. You know what I mean? In card games, for example, if you have a minion-based strategy and your opponent happens to have, you know, a strategy based around shutting down minions, and you're not just having one really strong tank that the minions can just whittle away at, you know what I mean? There's different builds that always counter different people in different card games. That's just how it works. Honestly, I think a great way for the game to expand upon its own complexity as a game, as well as, you know, basically adding either Rochambeau counters and potentially maybe even utility to will casts. You might think, okay, this could totally shift the state of the game and make it more, you know, on command than it is right now. And sure, it will do that, but I don't think it'll do it to an extent that'll make the game kind of brainless, you know, like, oh, you know, he has this many blades, obviously I use my top deck tower shield here. I want it to be one of those things where it's extremely limited and it's more of like a situation like, oh, dude, I have a full hand of great cards. You know, I have a great hand. I don't want to give up this hand in order to pull a tower shield or weakness whenever I could just turn it around right on him if I use this counter or this shield or this weakness that is on the top of my deck. I think will cast pets could be PvP only pets, or they could be talent. Now, they have already implemented this, and this was an idea I actually was super excited to see, is the implementation of willcast talent. Now, it's a good start, but the problem with willcast talents is that having to sacrifice a lot of damage for it is not something I think a lot of players will like. And while it is a huge advantage to be able to bring your pet into the game to do whatever you want it to do, I do feel like it shouldn't really be a sacrifice. I do feel like it should be something that's not only maybe on specific PvP pets that you can get for arena tickets or something, or you could make them certain will casts that are restricted to wands. I was thinking wands would be a great idea because a lot of people can switch different wands. There's a lot of wands out there you can use, and hopefully there wouldn't be pay to win wands, obviously. I'd hope maybe they make like a boss or something that drops these, or where you can get them through the arena or something. And these will casts would be a great way for people to stop complaining about blade stack and trap stack strategies, because frankly, it's really frustrating to be in a match against someone who has blade stack or trap stack and not pull any of your trap counters till the 8th round. This is a PvE deck, but so for example, let's say I'm carrying 4 or 5 backfires, right? I'm expecting to pull one of my backfires hopefully by the 2nd round. There's times I don't pull it till the 4th or 5th round against trap stackers, and that's honestly just an automatic loss for me most of the time. And it's a shame because I do feel like trap and blade stack strategies should be less RNG based than they are. I feel like they should be more reliant on, you know, a little bit of skill, situational awareness, and just overall knowing how not to fumble the bag, bro. But unfortunately, pretty much all of the PvE strategies entirely rely on your opponent's deck to fail and not work as it's supposed to. Or for your opponent to not expect what you're doing. And usually they can, right? Depending on, you know, if they know who you are, if they played with you before, etc. So I do personally believe that adding will cast talents to maybe PvP specific wands or pet, or, you know, maybe pet cards or something like that would be a great idea, you know, without sacrificing a certain talent. Because right now, as it is, you know, people are kind of not wanting to give up 6 damage, 3 pierce, 10 damage, 5 pips just to, you know, just to struggle to make that will cast work or even having success with it. So I do think that PvP should introduce and happily invite 2 to 3 will cast maybe within the next year or two in the Rochambeau, because right now we're dealing with an extreme deck problem, man. People are struggling to pull what they need to pull, man, and honestly that sucks. I do feel like, you know, there's times where somebody dark packs and I'm like, dude, where's my putrefaction, or where's my putrefaction? I'm looking for it for 3 rounds. I'm like, dude, I cannot counter what he's gonna do. I have to just let him poison me for 6,000 damage, you know, obviously not 6,000, but you know what I mean. It sucks to not have the Rochambeau in hand you wish you could use the counter. You know, even for example, fires. I've dealt as a fire player, I deal with a lot of problems against death sometimes because, you know, in metas where I can't use death mastery, like last meta, you know, if they were to dark pact against me, I was screwed. I don't know what I was supposed to do in that situation. I would lose the deaths all the time in my fire because if they E-free, if I E-freak them, they dark pact. If I weakness them, they dark pact again, or they just hit through. And that's just a shame that unfortunately would happen. And, you know, of course, in the reverse order, that would happen as well. I do highly recommend Rapid and the other devs consider this. Now, I have already reached out to them and said, hey, I've seen this idea you guys have come up with. I'm glad you guys finally did it. I'm curious what's to happen in the future in terms of will casts in PvP. Rapid said he plans to expand the offering, which means this is something that may happen in the far future. I don't expect it to be in the near future, but I am excited to hear that there may be more will casts and it may become a decent part of PvP so that you don't have to worry about losing the PvE Andy that just relies on deck fails all day. So, you know, I'm not here to say PvE strats are broken. They never have been. You know, there's been sometimes, you know, old Blade Stack Storm Scion. That was some BS, bro, not gonna lie. But most of the time, whenever PvE strats were good, they were good for a reason. They countered certain good schools, they were pretty consistent, and they had their own niches to them. Now, even though I don't think PvE strats are that OP, I do feel like, you know, having some sort of control people can carry, you know, tailored to certain metas, will be an amazing way to see PvP expand, as well as become more competitive in the fact that people can be more smart and also just have more reliability on their decks and their ability to play. Overall, there'll be more videos discussing deck fails, deck composition, and how the game works in the future. I love talking about stuff like this. I think it's so interesting, as I used to be a avid guard game player, so I do know a good amount about what that used to be, about what those games are like and stuff like that. But overall, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was a super fun video for me to make. I really do hope we do see more will cast type things happen in the future. But overall, guys, it was super entertaining to talk to you guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace out. See you.